Bobby, it's been years.
Yeah, I know.
Can we just
I can't.
get on with it?
I can't.
I've met so many of your girlfriends.
But we had an argument about like when you break up with a girl, you can't really be friends with them afterwards. You have to take a break. And I said I disagree.
For about 3 months, Khalyla has been missing from TigerBelly, which we soon found out was due to some medical reasons, and possibly a pregnancy, which, if true, then I think she should be an okay parent since she's had years of practice raising Bobby Lee. This is just speculation, but we'll get back to that. So she recently came back for the TigerBelly Christmas special, but there was a glaring problem here. It seemed like no one really cared. If we look at the comments as a representation of how the fans feel, then it didn't seem like anyone gave a shit that Kahlyla, the co-host of 8 years, was back from a 3-month break. In fact, it seemed like the opposite. A lot of the comments throughout Kahlyla's absence have been fans celebrating the fact that Kahlyla was nowhere to be seen, which may not come as a big surprise in the eyes of a lot of Bobby Lee fans. Kahlyla is, pure evil, and Bobby is this helpless soul that's still trying to free himself from Kahlyla's web.
I want to say this to everybody else, right? Stop fucking doing that online with Kahlyla. She's like the best person in the whole fucking world.
Because she said a lot of weird stuff over the years in an attempt to be funny or interesting, she ended up painting a bad picture of herself and became pretty much unlikable to a lot of people, at least compared to Bobby, who, although has clear problems, he definitely has that sad clown paradox, and so it's easy to feel bad for him. So naturally, when they broke up, there was a bias against Kahlyla.
I'm the one who gets
She gets
the
a lot
heat.
from the heat.
She gets a lot of negativity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of negativity.
Bobby is beloved, untouchable. I don't know. I think that, I've always just been the girl in his life and have sort of just been painted as this villainous thing because, I don't know, for reasons I can't explain. I think that a lot of times when we first got together, they saw this, who they thought was not their idea of like a handsome man. And I was this towering hot chick in their eyes 10 years ago. And they were like, she's got to be some villainous gold digging bit. I have also, I've been podcasting for 10 years and I've just told some pretty ratchet stories about growing up in the Philippines. And they've really taken some of those and ran with it.
It's fair to say there's been a large chunk of TigerBelly's fans who wishes she would take a permanent holiday. And so those fans clearly enjoyed the past few months without her around. You had comments saying things like, I've only come back because how good the vibe has been with just Bobby, Jaime, and Jules. The fact that fans seem more excited to have Jules on the pod than Kahlyla says a lot. Even in this post-relationship era, every now and then there's a comment or a friendly jab that they would take at each other, or a reference to what it was like when they were dating, which can feel not only like a downer, but the subject itself feels drawn out and tired. And I know references to their relationship has to be expected since they were together for 10 years, but that's likely a good reason why exes don't stay close friends, let alone run a podcast. Here's an example of what I mean. This was actually the last appearance she made before she took the 3-month break. In this episode, Kahlyla seems to take an unnecessary jab at Bobby almost immediately after Bobby tells the guest how pretty she is.
You're just sort of this like icon of like fitness and health and like doing the right things to like optimize both your life, your mind, your body. Bobby is like the complete opposite of that spectrum. He's like death and vice and like all things.
Is this deep for her? Does it feel like it's still?
It hurts.
And he's also, let's be real, 5'3", right? So I think that we can use real life as an example here.
Wasn't too far from 5'1".
And so it's like, do you think that you could ever be with
Bobby?
someone who was like this sloppy?
Oh, you guys have a long history that I know about.
Yeah.
Yes,
And if you think I'm gonna like bite a hook on that, you're out of your mind.
Even the guest seems to look a little uncomfortable there. Now, of course, Kahlyla is partly saying this for comedic effect, and this type of comment would often spark a funny back and forth with Bobby scrambling to stick up for himself. On the flip side, since she's naturally not a very funny person, it can just come across as her making a spiteful comment. But then there are times where Kahlyla has complained on the podcast about Bobby's behavior since they've broken up, and it does show that he clearly has issues letting her go.
You texted me at 4:30 in the morning with a zoomed in screenshot of the family photo with a message underneath that said, I see everything.
Which is true.
After our heart to heart last night, I think that we're making progress.
Yeah, it's very good.
And I think you'll come around.
I don't think so.
I believe in you.
It may be. We'll see.
We'll see.
Here's
What is your resistance
resistance. What do you mean?
to like seeing me happy? This is what you do that hurts my feelings, and I just have to get it off my chest. When you're having a particularly difficult week, like I'm on speed dial. Like you are like, help me. You call me 6-7 times in like a span of an hour. You dump all of you like trauma dump on me. And then you're like, I miss you. I love you. I can't live without you. And then you're like, I'm going to see you tomorrow. Are you going to be around tomorrow? And then tomorrow comes and the crickets. And you don't even call to say like, oh, I'm not coming over anymore to see the dogs. I just don't hear from you. And it hurts me.
I'm sorry.
It's a no-brainer that fans would eventually get tired of hearing about Bobby not wanting to move on, and I think since Bobby is this broken guy who has psychological issues and just can't help his delusional and toxic behavior, therefore the blame and responsibility for this toxic mess lands on Khalyla. Now, since she's been gone, personally I've preferred it, not because Khalyla equals evil, but I think Jaime and Jules gives us a much better version of Bobby Lee. Maybe initially we thought we needed Khalyla to play the straight man and say something odd or insulting to Bobby in order to elicit a funny reaction, but in my opinion, Jaime just seems to be better at this. And there's been no depressing reminders about Bobby being heartbroken or struggling to move on after Khalyla. In this recent Christmas special, where Khalyla made an appearance, we're barely 20 minutes into the pod and we're already back on the topic of Khalyla and Bobby's relationship. They start talking about what seems to be Khalyla's boyfriend, and of course, Bobby reveals yet again he still hasn't fully moved on.
What are you doing for Christmas?
Nothing. Like I did Thanksgiving, nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't do anything either.
You had a family get together.
No, we didn't.
That's what she said.
We had dinner.
Dinner.
Yeah, with everyone.
No, not everyone.
Who was there?
Just me, my mom, Jules, my sister.
Yeah, and there's not a big entity there either. Was there a big entity there or not?
Here's why I don't want to talk about the big entity. Because every time I want to talk to you about the big entity, you shut it out. You're just like, I don't want to talk about the big entity.
Yeah.
You like want to pretend that.
But there's an entity. Okay, let me just say something, okay? When there's entities around,
Okay.
all right, in my house or anywhere, right, I always call it out. I go, there's the entity. You know what I mean? But you don't bring up the entity. You know what I
No,
mean?
you don't.
The reason why I don't come to the dinner because the entity's there. I'm scared of entities.
Check your check. What does your text
just-
message say? Do you want to go to dinner with
I go, no.
a big entity?
I don't want to. No, I don't want to be. I don't want to be around the entity.
Bobby, it's been years.
Yeah, I know.
Can we just like
I can't.
get on with it?
I can't.
I've met so many of your girlfriends.
It seems like she's talking about her boyfriend, but there's also a lot of speculation online that she's had a baby, which could also be the reason she took some time off. She also made a post on Instagram about her having a son, so seems like those rumors might be true. Now he has to compete with not only Khalyla's new boyfriend, but also a baby, so I guess he can no longer be the only child in her life. Bobby was recently on Harlan's podcast, and he brought up a time where he was really angry at Harlan for making the very sound argument that when two people break up, they can't immediately be friends. There needs to be some space. This apparently got Bobby upset because he of course deluded himself into thinking that it was healthy for him to remain close to Khalyla.
So we had an argument about, I almost killed you that night, but we had an argument about like when you break up with a girl, you can't really be friends with them afterwards. You have to take a break. And
Yeah.
I said I disagree.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You still hold on to that point of view?
I think it's tough. I think you should get some air between it.
But do you think
Yeah.
that if you're in a relationship with somebody and then 6 months down the road you can still hang out and be friends? Or
Yeah.
do you believe that?
I think down the road,
Yeah.
I think in the initial breakup, the nerve endings are so raw that your emotions are so out of whack. You've got butterflies, you're still in love, but you're breaking up. You're moving away from a thing that everything's telling you to not move away from. And then you're staying in that vicinity of them. It's just a recipe for confusion and depression. And that's my opinion. And I was trying to advise you as a friend to create some space to heal so that Bobby Lee, my friend, could assemble himself, reapproach the relationship with said woman, and be in a healthy, strong, safe place. But you took it as Harlan's trying to fuck me over real hard, real deep.
And now in hindsight, we can see, judging how long it's taken Bobby to get over Kahlyla, that it was a bad idea for them to not give each other space. But some could argue that they had no choice. If Bobby took a break from TigerBelly, then no one would watch. If Kahlyla took a break, I don't think it would have impacted views at all, just like it didn't in the last few months. Their views and growth remained consistent. Now let's take a look at why some would feel that TigerBelly needs Kahlyla. Bobby, let's face it, is a sloppy mess, which I thought was the reason he had the nickname Slept King, but that's actually just because apparently how unwoke he is. Recently they had Howie Mandel on, and as he arrived, Bobby was living up to his name.
Did he send you to tell me that he's going to be here soon?
Yeah, 'cause
Is he paralyzed?
no, he's still sleeping.
He's sleeping. Why don't we go to him?
You want it?
Do you have a handheld camera? Let's go wake him up.
You want to film
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
Can we mic up Howie?
yeah.
We'll use yeah.
He tells me to be here, and it's not like he's sleeping. I'm gonna go wake him up. You told me to be here. No, you're sleeping. You're sleeping.
Look, it's
Oh, and you set up the whole place for me anyway.
54. If you want.
Alex, what happened?
Yeah, Alex,
Why?
you're fired.
Whoa. Walk much. Whoa. Happy New Year.
Do we
man.
start
Happy
with
New Year.
a Happy New Year to you? Do we start with an apology?
No. You know what?
What?
I expect an apology from you right now.
No, I want
I'll
one from
tell
you.
Why?
No.
I don't give a. I think BGT is way better than AGT. Whoa! All right, they have better judges.
Whoop!
They have better judges. All right. Secondly,
You got me.
yeah,
Don't hit me
Also,
so loud.
Howie, no one's ever been on my level, upstairs. That's
Right.
private area.
Yeah,
I just woke up.
I know. That's the f***ing problem. You used
I haven't
on
had no Red Bull. No, I literally just woke up.
Can I just say, no,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
do this quietly.
Yeah.
You told me, my buddy Rich is in the room. You said be here at 5 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
In all my years in show business, people say
Nikki Glaser killed it last night.
amazing.
I guess Bobby could do with someone like Kahlyla to help drag him out of bed, because even when you're over 50 and have been working in showbiz for more than 30 years, apparently you still need someone to force you to be on time. And apparently his whole team is happy to sit there awkwardly smiling at the guest while Bobby oversleeps. Alongside physically making sure Bobby is in his chair, having Kahlyla on the podcast does help to keep Bobby grounded. I know the reason Bobby's wild personality is why he's popular. Having someone like Kahlyla can not only make sure Bobby doesn't keep straying off topic, but also, and most importantly, to keep his ego in check. As we recently saw with the Howie episode, Jaime, Jules, and Gilbert are just not capable of that. Even though Howie was rightly annoyed, Bobby immediately brushed this off and tried to push forward with jokes that didn't land. If you compared that with the David Spade episode on Bad Friends, where Bobby also slept in, Andrew made sure that Bobby quickly took accountability.
You always do reminders now? Mm-hmm. You don't.
How many reminders? Check your phone.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, it's my fault. Sorry.
Whose fault is it?
My fault.
It's your fault?
Sorry, Bobby.
Wow.
I had no idea.
How could you not? We couldn't stop talking about this.
I forgot.
You scheduled this. You scheduled this.
So does TigerBelly need Kahlyla? In my opinion, no. However, I think Bobby needs someone around him that he respects to make sure his carelessness doesn't get out of control. At TigerBelly, everyone there works for him, which likely means a lack of honesty in a situation where it can put their job in danger. When your celebrity podcast guest is sitting there and you're telling them, yeah, Bobby's sleeping, sorry, we're just gonna have to sit here and wait for him to fully wake up. That's insane that they were just laughing it off as if it's another day in the office. No one, not Gilbert, not George, thought about going to get him up. The guest had to suggest it. That's the problem. But let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed this, hit the like and subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.